Every promotional segment is a little bit different here on WowBiz Nebraska. I'm going to take off my jacket and I'm going to put on my leather jacket, right? Because that's symbolic of what's going to happen right here, right now.
Okay.
All right. Because what we're going to do, we're going to talk about some tough statistics. We're going to talk about some tough strategies. We're going to get right to the point.
Okay.
And a lot of people across the state, business owners in particular, that have heard maybe a little bit about Nebraska, they don't know what it is, they're a little nervous, they don't want to do anything crazy, you know. And so they're trying to figure out how they're attracted to the idea of newness. They kind of sense that's a good thing.
Right.
But they don't want to go crazy and they don't want to make a misstep.
They don't quite understand how that looks.
Exactly right. How does it look to go to the next level at this particular time in our economy and basically make third quarter and fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. So I'm going to talk to you today about a little bit about Nebraska, and I'm going to share some information with you may or may not know, okay? And I'm going to stand up for this.
Should I put my toys away?
Well, no, but you might want to bang on the table whenever you hear something particularly exciting, okay? You have the freedom to do that. Not everybody could do that.
No.
So here's the deal. Here in Nebraska, let's start with the average sales revenue that a, quote, small business has. All right, let's start with that as a base consideration. Now, I'm not talking about sole proprietors like you and I. Those are the kind of people, their volume's around $100,000. They make about 44 grand a year typically. We're not talking about those people. And they, by the way, they comprise a huge portion of across Nebraska,
a lot of them,
especially in rural and so on. But we're talking now about the classic or typical small business company, and their typical revenue is $570,000.
And this is within Nebraska.
Within Nebraska, $570,000 is the average number small business generates. Okay. And now we talk about marketing because, again, it's going to be important for them to somehow get out there and revitalize sales, right? And so they're thinking to themselves, what should we do, right? Now that leads us to marketing budget.
Okay.
Let's be kind of numbers oriented for a minute. The Small Business Administration tells us that business owners of companies like that should be investing about 7 to 8% in marketing.
Somewhere around 50,000 then, probably.
But yeah, maybe that might be a little high. I would say maybe 45 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, let's be practical and say, hey, the pandemic kind of took a chunk out of us, so we can bring the number down to like 39 or something like that. Because a lot of people will be conservative after. Sure. So we'll say somewhere between 39 and 45.
Okay.
Now the next question is, what do we do with that money? How do we allocate it optimally? Now I'm going to talk to you about this content marketing. It's very interesting. Of all companies now, 16% of them spend anywhere from 10% of the marketing budget to about 25% of it, all right, on content marketing. Okay. And then another 17% spend somewhere between 25% and 49% on content marketing.
Okay.
All right, whatever their budget is, we'll say once again around 40 grand, give or take. And so that gives you a sense of the impact. 16% plus 17%, that's a pretty good portion of all companies looking at and utilizing content marketing, right? So let's just take a median number between those two categories. Let's say 30%. Okay. So 30% of all entire marketing budget is, on average, we are approximating here, is being spent on content marketing.
Okay.
All right. So this is very interesting. So what does that mean if you take a look at it on a monthly basis? Well, it means they're investing somewhere between $550 a month to maybe $1,100 a month.
Okay.
Depending, you know. And that is their content marketing budget. All right. So let's just think about that for just a minute and remember, by the way, that Nebraska's content marketing offerings, shall we say, or service that we provide,
right,
and I won't get into numbers at all here exactly, but fall into that category.
Absolutely.
You know, they do on the low end, and we have 3 different things from kind of the low end of the spectrum I just mentioned.
There's tiers.
Up to, there's tiers, exactly, 3 tiers. So when I found this out, I felt lucky because frankly I didn't do it strategic, I didn't do it really logically, but it just happened to work out that way. Right. So here's the message to all of our viewers out there today. Grab onto these numbers and realize what are people like me doing. And people like me and you are spending even increasingly more money on content marketing. And the essence of that, as we all probably know, is educating the customer. Right? There's Facebook advertising, there's display ads, very powerful. I mean, many people, millions of people do them, easily targeted. There's certainly things to be said for that. But when you watch or read a video or an advertorial or even an audio podcast, you see, if it's well developed, you're a better educated person as a result of spending a couple minutes taking a look at it.
It's a bit more sophisticated, and it helps your buyer to make a informed decision.
Informed
and
decision.
educated.
They're a qualified prospect.
Qualified, right.
Yeah, absolutely. And they might actually read stuff like this, 2, 3, 4, 5 times over the course of a few months. And you don't even know, so you don't even really know they're in the funnel.
Right.
But then all of a sudden you hear from them, they go to your website and so on, and they say, I've been reading about you and I heard about you and I saw a little video about you guys, and I've really learned a lot that really tells me you guys are intelligent and will be able to really fit me and my lifestyle.
And I think it would tend to diffuse some of the things we were talking about earlier. Some of those hang-ups and things, if they have a better sense of who you are and what you're really doing as a company.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's exactly right. And that's the point. But it sometimes takes some time, right? It takes a little time for buyers to kind of figure out and get a little more educated. They start to connect the dots and go, oh, I see. But the key is, and we'll wrap up here as we go back to our show here, and we're going to talk about your business and some of the things you do, and we'll talk about content marketing in your world.
Okay.
All right? But the final idea here is that if you believe that smart people, the smarter a person gets, the more likely they will purchase your product or service, then content marketing's for you. All right? If you don't think that's particularly true, skip content marketing, buy Facebook ads. Just try to get as much transactions as you can. Don't worry about it. But if you want to build a brand with people that are really loyal and respect you and kind of want to invest in you and stick with your company and your product line, think about content marketing, whether it's video, audio, podcasting, a TV interview. As long as it's education.
Right.
Absolutely.